Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today we're going to be taking a look at another white graphics card because MSI wants to join the pack and be a part of the cool kids and offer you white hardware. Now, I have done a full review of the 4070 Ti white trio graphics card that I have here today, done all the tests and all the normal stuff, and we will show you the performance and the temperatures and all of that sort of stuff. But it brings me to a really good excuse to talk about the way that brands seem to be implementing white a bit differently, in that there's more silver on them than there is white. And what's the point? So as I've said, the white trio 4070 Ti, so you get all of your DLSS 3 goodness, you get quiet cooling, triple fan on the graphics card, and it's being sold to you as a white one. Now, white is still fairly, like, manufacturers don't tend to do a lot of white stuff because they don't sell in anywhere near the same amount of numbers as they do with a black or a dark grey, whatever the brand ends up having. Sometimes it's 10 of the darker shades to 1 of the white. It can be quite a niche line to carry, but it is starting to really pick up momentum again, where everyone's kind of chipping in and wants a piece of the pie. So for white ones, you can easily get a white one from Gigabyte and Asus now, because they've brought a Strix model out, and Power Color normally do one for AMD. I end up making one for Sapphire. It's just one of those things. The availability now is getting quite vast. But with like Gigabyte and MSI, for example, the motherboards, even though they're touted as being white, are predominantly silver. And with that in mind, it's kind of at the point where you say to yourself, well, are they going to be silver or are they going to be white? And it would be nice if they would just kind of go down one path with it. And there are lots of people out there that would love to build an all-white rig, and it's actually a lot more difficult than it should be. The MSI, for example, I will say from the start that the dual colour kind of situation does match their boards fairly well. But that's why I said this was a time where I was like, I actually want to grab hold of this and say, well, why can't we just have a white one? Because the white trio is more silver than it is white. The fans on the main bit, if you were to do a vertical, are white. There's a lot of silver around it. If you have it in what we'll call a generic mount like this, you do see more silver than you do white. And the problem is when it is mounted that way, the silver it just highlights the lightness of the white parts on it, and it makes it stand out a little bit too much. It's not like they're close, and it is very, very two-tone, and it's quite clear where the white is and where the silver isn't. Especially, it's brought up even more once you add some decent lighting into your case, because the white will stand out that much more than the silver will do. You'd think you get a reflection, but it just highlights on the white. So the card itself, performance was exactly where we would have expected it. It's another great card. The yields on them, they all seem to be fairly close. And where the overclock for the card stops, it's normally when the GPU boost kind of takes over, and they do end up being relatively close together. Now, it's very quiet. It's very cool. It does exactly what you would expect it to do, other than if you buy a white graphics card, maybe expect more white on it. And I think that's my only real bugbear, is I'm such a passionate enthusiast for white hardware, which is why I end up painting stuff, which is why I have white sections in the background behind me. I sit beside a white system. This is a silver graphics card with a bit of white on it that doesn't necessarily look right. I think you would be better off buying the normal graphics card and then painting it so that you've then got the the pride of having made something custom. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't look bad. It's just I don't understand why they did it. So, but as with everything, aesthetics is a very personal thing for you at home. It's a very personal thing for me, which is why I've got so passionate about it. You may absolutely fall in love with it, and that, there's nothing wrong with that, nothing whatsoever. If you like it, then cool. I'm going to support your choices. I'm just kind of putting my own personal take on my thoughts behind the aesthetics. I think that's kind of the point about a review as well, isn't it? You want to hear people's views, and then we, in the comments, we will converse and we will debate and we will make decisions. If yours doesn't match mine, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But as I said, performs good. The aesthetic side of it, I personally think it's a little confused, but that's really going to come down to your guys' thoughts at home. I'd actually really like to go a little bit more wild with the colour, if I'm completely honest. If you're going to have two colours like this, then I know it's staying very neutral, so it will appeal to a broader consumer base. But if I was to go dual colour like this, then I would end up with white and candy red, or white and some crazy pop out sort of, not midnight purple, but almost like an NZXT purple or something. This has got dual colour written all over it with this design, and it, you know, they could have gone a little bit more brave with it, but I know if they go brave with it, means less are going to get sold. So we won't go round and round in circles. Besides that, it is a valiant effort from MSI. I would just encourage you to be that little bit more brave and maybe get rid of some, a lot, all, most, the majority of the silver, because at the end of the day, if it's a white graphics card, more of it needs to be white.